and I reserved a motel room in Philadelphia, and then Nick flew out to Philly. We shot it there. The most common shared thing that we all felt was dissatisfaction with the two-party political system. It seems like the goal of current politicians is to figure out where to make people point blame at. I think that Epstein Island was some kind of blackmail operation. They were probably all murdered by Mossad.
Exactly.
But
but you think it was Mossad that did it?
I think it was a mix of Mossad, the CIA, and various Western-aligned intelligence agencies. See, the Q itself was a psyop to dilute the truth about the Epstein files with so much conspiracy nonsense that the liberal establishment was able to kind of cast it all aside and say anyone who believes Epstein also believes in flat Earth, so it's all something that should be ignored.
Hey guys, it's Jackson Buhai, your host of In the Know, here with TMZ. A little bit of a different interview coming at you today. Today I'm joined by a man who provides quite the variety of content to his audience. Someone who's comfortable visiting Palestine and exploring the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, or, on the other end, creating a documentary about a man who sincerely misses his parrot. This man is none other than Mr. Andrew Callaghan from Channel 5. Mr. Callaghan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's great lighting in here. And secondly, it's nice to see you up to date on the current stuff we're putting out.
Yeah,
that parrot
absolutely.
Documentary called Finding Orson came out less than 72 hours ago. And my Palestine video came out yesterday.
Yeah.
So you, sir, are in the know. So
Thank you. I definitely am in the know. That's why that's the name of the show. Speaking of that parrot documentary, you are all about variety. Talk to me about C5 Now. Talk to me about this platform you've curated. What's going on with that?
Well, I thought of the idea for C5.now, which is like a self-hosted independent documentary platform, because of the internal mandates that were going around at the big studios, being like Amazon, HBO, Netflix, Hulu, etc. And it's basically mandates that were based on consumer data, which showed that people were more responsive to documentaries about pop stars, sports teams, true crime, celebrities, and stuff like that. So basically you saw a gradual decrease in more experimental, political, human interest documentaries, and an uptick in just fandom documentaries. It's the same reason you see Ant-Man 6 and Minions Go to the Moon, and Parasite, a South Korean film, can win Best Picture that same year. It's because they know it's bigger return on investment to make documentaries about Ted Bundy or Tom Brady or Taylor Swift. But people aren't actually the most engaged or they're not put in a thought-provoking state. They're not
exactly.
You know what I'm trying to say. So basically,
some might call it slop.
Yeah, but it's also people respond to it more metrically.
Right.
So during that period of time a couple years ago, studios stopped buying documentaries that I think make real change in the world. So I decided to make a platform that's fully self-hosted for other documentary filmmakers, where they get a higher residual split, profit share, than offered by the traditional platforms. And also, it's just I want to help other people gain some spotlight now that I've had it for so long.
What kind of impact have you seen since launching?
I mean, we got 5,000 subscribers in the opening day, which is a lot for a new subscription-based service. And I think people just like it. They like to be able to watch documentaries knowing that they're directly supporting the creator while doing it, and not just giving subscription money to some corporate machine that's going to underpay the director.
Right. Aside from C5 Now, you've recently made headlines because you did what a lot of people across the country would consider the impossible.
Yeah.
You got in a room with Hunter Biden and Nick Fuentes. We broke a story, and I want to mention this. We broke a story where we said it nearly got physical in that room, which was confirmed to the Wrap as being 100% true. But what I find the most admirable about that is you said that towards the end, the three of you sat down and actually found common ground, which is becoming something quite unheard of in this country. Talk to me about how you're talking to Hunter Biden, you're talking to Nick Fuentes, and somehow you get them all into the same room with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the common ground that was found is best illustrated by how the interview came together in the first place. So Hunter has came out of the media closet for a while now. He's been doing a bunch of interviews and podcasts. I did his first one back, but now he's speaking openly on DJ Vlad and a bunch of different platforms. And he had said, I want to speak to the young anti-Trump, Gen Z, conservative right, and mentioned Nick by name. Just so happened that my publicist heard that Nick wanted to do an interview with a more left-leaning podcaster or documentary filmmaker or journalist or whatever to clarify and kind of rescind various positions about the Holocaust, the black community, etc. So I saw this moment, and I reserved a motel room in Philadelphia near where Hunter's dad lives because he was visiting Joe Biden. And then Nick flew out to Philly. We shot it there, and by the end, I think the most common shared thing that we all felt was dissatisfaction with the two-party political system, especially Donald Trump and the current Democratic frontrunners, and then also an understanding of the broader theme that's really affecting our generation, which is community collapse. The collapse of in-person engagement, third spaces going away, loneliness, screen time, isolation, and the mental health effects of that. And I think those are all tied together because political radicalization is a component of loneliness, you know, and just this sort of existential dread that sets in after years of doom scrolling and lack of friends in real life can cause you to point fingers in many different directions. And it seems like the goal of current politicians is to figure out where to like make people point blame at, like figure out where to direct that finger pointing.
So you're saying that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this new trend of large-scale political radicalization is caused by algorithms and social media and things like that to make people feel isolated and feel like the world's actually against me, so I should feel against the world.
Yeah, to be afraid of it as well. I mean, a lot of people don't go outside anymore. So they're developing perceptions of places like California or Philadelphia as these sort of like infernal hellholes where you can't walk around without getting stabbed or, you know, stabbed with an AIDS needle.
Does that scare you, that it's becoming like that?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, you know, I grew up hitchhiking and trying to explore as many worlds as I could. So encountering unfamiliar cultures, even if it came with a bit of danger, was always something that I found pretty interesting. So to see that go away because of social media algorithms and how they reward fear-based content, it's a very sad thing.
And do you feel like entities like the US government have a large hand in social media algorithms and persuading people to think a certain way?
Well, there's the US government, then there's the government above them. And I'm not going like Alex Jones' deep state here. I mean like the tech oligarchs who fund campaigns and are tied in with the donor class, like Larry Ellison, Mark Andreessen, all these people that are building data centers and modifying algorithms to suppress certain kinds of content and promote other kinds of antisocial content with the goal of collapsing communities and keeping people broke, alone, single consumers. That's what they want, for you to stay at home all day, doom scroll and buy products online.
What do you think led to it nearly getting physical between the three of you?
Well, it's just funny because we sent like a draft of the documentary around. By getting physical, there was a moment where Hunter Biden put his arm on Nick's bicep and was like, "Come on, Nick," which by definition, Merriam-Webster, is physical.
Right.
I didn't say it got physical. We gave a cut to certain media outlets, and they were like, it got physical or nearly got physical, meaning initiated contact didn't escalate to fisticuffs.
A growing fear amongst the American people in particular is that there's a lot of civil unrest right now. And I think for people on opposite sides of the political spectrum to come together and find common ground is very important. Considering, you know, Nick Fuentes, a lot of people would say, is pretty far right. He's right-leaning and at one point was, you know, kind of a proponent of the Trump administration at one point in his career. Well, what's interesting is he's kind of done a complete turnaround, even by saying that he will not vote unless the Epstein files are released.
I think everybody in my generation feels that way. I would say it's 80%. Maybe it's just the people that I talk to, but I think the Epstein thing is something that they expected to go away, or they could just kind of replace with another culture war issue. Like I'm sure that's what the Trump admin wanted, is like for the next big thing, like the Venezuelan kidnapping of Maduro, or the Iran war, all these various things they figured would create like another cycle to get people hyped about and frenzied on, but the Epstein thing has held up.
What kind of checks and balances do you think need to be in place in order for someone to not be able to rise to such power and kind of insert themselves in geopolitical situations like the kidnapping of Maduro or things like that?
I mean, there's really no way to tell how somebody will behave until they get absolute power. That's saying that goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So maybe Hegseth was a chill dude when he was on like the college rugby team, you know, but no one's expecting this guy to have the nuclear codes. So I think when things escalate, you'll see, but someone has to be given that position and then their true colors come out, probably.
Do you have any sources telling you anything about Epstein, the person he was, why the files haven't been fully unredacted or released? I know you interviewed Ro Khanna, as have I.
Yeah.
But anything you're hearing behind the scenes?
Sources have told me that he was a piece of shit. I don't know what he was doing exactly, but I think that Epstein Island was some kind of blackmail operation. If you look into who Ghislaine Maxwell's father was, it appears to be not only a pedophile destination, but a place where people were taken, compromised, and then sent off to Wall Street and elsewhere to do the bidding of whoever Epstein worked for.
Robert Maxwell is a very interesting topic that I love to talk about a lot because I think it gives us a very transparent look into the Epstein phenomena. For me personally, the thing that interests me is the promise system and his death. Is there anything that interests you about the Maxwell family?
Just the fact that Robert Maxwell had a hand in writing the textbooks that gave us our formative understanding of like American and world history. You know, he literally like controlled like those OG textbooks that you read in school. He was behind that. So our conception of the geopolitical alignment of the world is in a way spearheaded by that guy.
I understand. And in terms of the Epstein files themselves, anything that stands out to you? First of all, there are millions, so I know it's a very broad question. But I'm talking about in concerns of the actual trafficking operation, the French modeling scouts. I don't know if you know, but Daniel Cited, who is a French model scout named a couple thousand times in the files, was found dead July 20th, so a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Along with, follows the same pattern of Jean-Luc Brunel, who was
They're
found
probably
dead in
all
his
murdered
Paris
by Mossad.
Exactly.
But
but you think it was Mossad that did it?
I think it was a mix of Mossad, the CIA, and various, Western-aligned intelligence agencies that are responsible for disappearing people related to the Epstein case. What shocked me the most about all that is seeing how Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein were kind of pulling the strings on 4chan and on Reddit before the QAnon phenomenon came to fruition. And that was so interesting to me because I was covering Q a lot in 2020. And if you look at the timelines, you see that Q itself was a psyop to dilute the truth about the Epstein files with so much like conspiracy nonsense that the liberal establishment was able to kind of cast it all aside and say anyone who believes Epstein also believes in flat Earth, so it's all something that should be ignored. And so it's crazy looking back because I was wondering, what's the benefit of this Q stuff? Is it just to get Trump back in power? Is it just to get votes ahead of the election? And now you're seeing, no, it was sort of like try to launder the loony bin over top of the Epstein truth to make it all seem dumb. So even for me, when the Epstein files came out, and I was seeing that Ghislaine Maxwell met with the founder of 4chan to make the poll boards, and I was seeing that there was meetings between Reddit officials, basically, whatever you want to call them, and Epstein, and you're like, damn, okay, now I see why Q happened. And but I'm saying it was hard for me to accept the truth about the Epstein files immediately because I'd only heard Epstein-related information from people who were out of their mind.
I've been studying the Epstein phenomena for nearly 2 years now, and it's been a wild ride, from going to Washington, D.C. and interviewing congressmen firsthand to interviewing survivors, interviewing people that worked directly with him and knew him.
Yeah.
It's been ridiculous. And it seems to me like you're right. He was a collection of interests that was broadened amongst multiple intelligence agencies like Mossad, CIA, maybe even Russia. Do you think there was anything deeper to it? Do you think he had his own kind of megalomaniacal interests?
Yeah, I'm sure that's a part of it. I'm sure they picked a guy who they knew was sort of sick in the head and was kind of a power freak. But the big question is, how do you engineer compliance?
Right.
You have to get dirt on people. That's the only way. There's too many people have too many varying opinions on things.
Right.
Especially in the elite class, all they do is bicker with each other. How do you make sure it stays beneath the surface?
To end it off, is there any kind of message? You obviously seem very concerned with the way that things are right now, geopolitically, in terms of, in your words, radical political ideologies.
Yeah.
Any message you have for Gen Zers like myself?
Yeah, man, go outside, make friends with people who you wouldn't ordinarily talk to, just try to strike up as many in-person connections as you can, because I think that's the most important bond. Seek community by any means, even if it's an online subculture where you meet up in person, but just do what you can to hop off the phone. Remember on Nickelodeon we had Go Outside Day? That was a fun time. I think people should set aside a couple hours a day where they at least just get a beer with the mailman, or if you don't drink, just do something else. Try to think of other things you could do.
Cast a spell.
Well, I mean, just put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to hang out with someone. If you don't get along, it's okay. You can make a new friend somewhere else. But I mean, the loneliness epidemic is extreme. Before COVID, I think 71% of young respondents said they were a part of an in-person community that gave them value. This year, it's 19%. So we're seeing a 500% decrease in civic engagement and social interactions.
Wow.
And so to me, that is by far the biggest problem with Gen Z, and that's I'm the earliest or latest Gen Z or whatever. That's bigger than any political issue, and it's manifesting itself in political divisiveness, but that's not the core problem. The core problem is lack of community, and that will drive people nuts.
Mr. Callaghan, you're the man. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's a dream come true. Shout out to TMZ.
Of course.